Let's talk about the mouthpiece placement. And this is one of the very, very vital things that you can do on all your brass instruments, is be sure that from the very beginning the mouthpiece is placed properly. There are all sorts of things that lead to improper placement, one of which we'll talk a little later is the size of the instrument as it relates to the young horn players. And very often the horn is so big that the mouthpiece is put off. When I grew up, I played this big horn and the mouthpiece was off center, and it's something I still struggle with today. And I wish that my teacher had seen the advice I'm going to give and had followed it. So I can't stress enough that this is probably the most important thing you can do for any instrument, is get that face and the instrument, the interface between the two, worked out correct. On the horn, the correct relationship of the mouthpiece is 2 parts to the top and 1 part to the bottom as it relates to where the line between the lips comes. I think a simple way to get this feeling with most players is if you can put the mouthpiece right where the red and white come together on the bottom, the rim of it like so, and then tip it up. And that quite likely will end up with a relationship where you have 2 to 1. So it would look something like this. These are the lips, and of course this is where the lips are coming together. And you're going to have the mouthpiece look something like this. That may be a little bit too much, but anyway, 2 parts here, 1 part there. I have a mouthpiece that we can see through, so maybe you can see how that exactly works on my face. So I put it here and twist it up. I think that you can see here that it's basically 2 parts top and 1 part bottom. So I think that's very important. The other thing is that it be centered. Now, not centered exactly on the face, but centered on the teeth. None of us are symmetrical. I don't know if you've ever done this, but with the computer now you can cut your face in half and turn one side over and the other, and you see it doesn't look like you at all, because none of us are symmetrical. And so what is more important is where the gap between the front teeth comes, so that the top of the mouthpiece is equally distributed among those 2 front teeth. So that's very, very important. If you can get that both 2 to 1 and directly half on each one of those 2 front teeth, then you've got really the proper mouthpiece placement, like so. Then, in addition to that, the angle that the mouth pipe, the lead pipe, comes in. This part of the horn, this is a mouthpiece. Obviously, I guess I should mention that. It seems obvious, but that's what it is. It's a funnel-shaped looking thing. And this goes into the lead pipe. By the way, when you put the mouthpiece in, you don't do this. It makes a neat sound, but what can happen is very easily the mouthpiece can become stuck. So the correct way to insert a mouthpiece on any brass instrument is to conceive of it as having threads. And so you put it in and sort of screw it in clockwise, and then when you take it out, you come counterclockwise. And you get it in firmly so it's not going to fall out. So that's just a little bit of an aside, but an important one. Now, you want the lead pipe to come fairly straight in, but not perpendicular to the ground, parallel to the ground, but rather perpendicular to the angle of the teeth. Remember we talked that you bring the lower jaw out some, and so you want the lead pipe to be on a T with those lower teeth. And for most players, brass players, especially the high brass, it will be just slightly down from parallel to the floor. So I think you can see with me that it's not up like so, but it comes down just a bit. And so that's the correct angle of the lead pipe. You want to be sure it's coming in straight and not twisted off like this or like so, or too far down or too far up, but just exactly making a T with those lower teeth. And so if you follow both the mouthpiece placement of 2 to 1 and that T relationship with the teeth, I think that your young players will be off to a good start.